Our top story at noon, the city of Portland just took a controversial step to fight the recent increase in gun violence here. The city council approved a multi-million-dollar plan to curb the number of shootings. As Mike Benner reports, the money isn't going to police, but instead to a community-based approach.
Since the start of 2021, there have been more than 250 shootings in Portland. That compares to 111 through the first few months of 2020. Portland's police chief will tell you this about stopping gun violence.
We know this work is important. It's probably some of the most important work we do because it really affects people's lives and safety every day.
Portland's city council agrees. On Wednesday, it unanimously approved a $6 million plan aimed at tackling the spike in gun violence. Not a penny of it goes to the Portland Police Bureau. Instead, a little more than $4 million will be earmarked for community groups like the Latino Network that work in neighborhoods hardest hit by gunfire.
And I think that's the big corner we turned today, from one where the community is at the recipient end of policing and safety issues to one where the community is now in the driver's seat.
Another $1.4 million will go towards the hiring of a couple dozen unarmed park rangers for around-the-clock foot patrols.
They're there to serve more as ambassadors, but I think they could serve as a deterrent, and I think there's room for their participation.
We didn't see this kind of gun violence in Portland when I was growing up.
Randy Philbrick is the founder of Portland for Positive Impact, a newer coalition of community groups and neighborhood associations tired of the violence. Philbrick questions the city council's plan, specifically the part involving park rangers.
My personal feeling is this is what happens when you have public safety policy being created by people who have zero public safety experience.
Say what you will, but city commissioners and Mayor Ted Wheeler believe this plan will help quell the gun violence across the city.
This ordinance significantly increases funding for community-based organizations that can help us with deterrence, with intervention.
How well this all meshes with what the Portland Police Bureau is already doing is unclear. What is clear is this.
We have to figure out a way where we can be effective in playing our part and be a good partner.
In addition to this newly approved plan, the Portland City Council is asking the Portland Police Bureau to shake things up so that more people are responding to shooting scenes and shooting investigations. This is on top of the enhanced community safety team that was established earlier this year. I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
The Oregon Health Authority says it'll start reporting the number of doses of the COVID vaccine the state has had to throw away because of mishaps. Their new report says out of the 2 million doses already administered in Oregon, 656 had to be discarded for different reasons. They were either damaged in transit, spoiled from refrigeration issues, or expired. The Moderna vaccine has had the most issues, with more than 500 doses thrown out. Okay, let's check in on the vaccine rollout. Almost 785,000 Oregonians are now fully vaccinated. That's a little over 18% of the population. In addition, more than 500,000 have had their first dose. Washington is closing in on almost 1.5 million people fully vaccinated. That's almost 20% of the population. Another 850,000 have had their first dose. And as more people get vaccinated, we get back to normal. We're already seeing signs of that in our schools. Today, more students in Beaverton return to hybrid learning. The district has about 40,000 students in it. Officials say just under 50% of families with elementary school kids chose hybrid learning. All the school buildings have had upgrades to help keep those students safe. We talked to the principal at Raleigh Park. He says his building is split into different zones to stop students from gathering. The school also added ventilation systems, signs, and created space for social distancing. The district has been preparing since last summer to bring students back.
But my sincere hope, with some of the guidance that we've heard from the CDC and as it filters on down to the state of Oregon, that it's my sincere hope and expectation that we are in a place where we can return with all children for a full day, as close to normal as we can replicate from what we all know and love and remember.
The middle schoolers who opt for hybrid learning will be back on campus by April 19th.